Okay, great. Do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Anne Odeke, and I'm one of the actors with Actors from the London Stage.
Thank you. We are so happy to have you with us today. So can you explain to everyone what Actors from the London Stage is for people who don't know?
Yeah, sure. As a theatre company, we specialise in Shakespeare. In terms of a group of actors, there's a different group of actors, a group of five every time they tour from London to the States. So there's two different groups that will do that each year, with a group that are here doing Macbeth in the fall. And being five of us, it means that we get to, as I say, travel around the United States, doing the most incredible play, having the best time, meeting the most amazing people. And we also not only perform the play in, yeah, well, wherever we go, but we are also able to teach workshops. We can go into universities, high schools, and like I said, meeting just incredible people. So it's brilliant.
That's wonderful. It's so strange to imagine like an entire Shakespeare play with just five people. Could
Mm.
you tell us more about how the Actors from the London Stage approach is a bit different?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, um, it made me giggle when I found out that the reason why there's five people in a cast is because when the company was first established, is because you could fit five people in a car. So it was more like a practical sense rather than in a kind of creative decision. Uh, but yeah, the way it works is that it means that there's a lot of multi-rolling. So if I give you an example that in Macbeth, there are 37 characters. I myself play seven. One of the cast members holds the award for the most, which is eight. And even, for example, that's Annabelle, and even Roger, who plays Macbeth, the title character, even he plays four characters, including Macbeth, of course. So there's a lot going on, and how we are able to multi-role is by changing our vocals, by changing our physicality, and also by applying to ourselves something which is called a signifier, is what we call it, which essentially is like a prop that we could come on with, or it could be an item of costume as well. So, for example, it might be that someone switches from character to character, being like a hat, a shawl, another item of clothing like a jacket or something, or like, for example, one of my characters is a lookout for Macbeth, you see, so I come on with a pair of binoculars. So again, this concept of having a signifier, just to I say, like, to for us it's fun to play with all those things. I think part of it for the audience is you enjoy the madness of watching the actors switch from character to character, but also it means for the audience, it means it's nice and clear as to who we're playing and when.
Great, that's incredible. I've also read that you don't have a director and that it's all
Yeah.
created by the five of you.
Mm.
Can you talk a bit more
Yeah,
about that?
absolutely. So yes, there is no director, which shocks a lot of people, because they think, well, how can you do that, really? Because the director's job is essentially to make their vision come to life. You're led by them. They're the ones that kind of give you the nod of yes or no in terms of the choices that you make as an actor when you're rehearsing. So to not have one means that we, as a group of five, have created the play ourselves. We've had to come up with, not only in terms of the story, and we're able to edit the script somewhat, so if there's certain bits that we think actually maybe that line isn't necessarily needed, or actually that Elizabethan joke, it doesn't really land very well now, perhaps it's either outdated or just not very funny for whatever reason, we have the right by which we can do that. But essentially what we do is absolutely the majority of the text. So we have so we're able to take ownership of it, really, in that sense. And the idea behind that, or what we do, is, for example, we sat down at the beginning of the rehearsal process, maybe like within the first day, second day, went through the script. What do we need? What don't we think we need? So that then, and then by the end of the, like, let's say day two, that then gave us the script by which we were working from. We also, on the first day, put it up on its feet and just had a go and just let's just do it. So just to see what comes of it, which sounds absolutely bad because you think, how are you going to do a Shakespeare? How are you going to do 5 acts of Shakespeare and no one knows what they're doing? But actually, it was really great fun because it means actually in a funny way you find things. You also discover what doesn't work, which is just as important. And at the same time, it means that you come away with this sensation of it's quite a celebratory sense that kind of this weight of the play. We think, oh my goodness, how are we going to do it? We've got this big play, big expectations. We've got to somehow bring it to life. You work out that actually we've just done it. It was terrible, but we've done it. But you go, what an achievement as a group, particularly on day 1, day 2, day 3. So that was a really good thing. But it means in terms of ideas that we all contribute ideas as we go along. So those, for example, that are in the scene will do the acting. Those that aren't are able to sit out of, essentially to be able to sit and watch, really, and therefore to offer direction. And of course, it means that you have several ideas being put to you if you're the actor in the scene. But part of your job as an actor is essentially it's about choice and choosing, okay, I'm going to try playing it this way, I'm going to try playing it that way, because essentially direction is offers, and you as the actor are the one that decides, okay, this one feels right. You know the character better than anybody, so you try that, you explore it, and again, some ideas work, some ideas don't, and if they don't, there's a real strength in that, because you work out, well, if it's not that, then it must be something else, so let's continue to play, let's discover, and that's what our job is.
That sounds like such a fun and crazy process.
Oh, it is. It really is. And that is it. It is crazy. The fun is in the madness of it all. And being honest, you have to be a certain personality type. Not all actors are going to enjoy that form of collaborative process. But if you are someone who does, and the 5 of us certainly do, then it makes for a great rehearsal. And then of course from that, it means you also have a level of trust with people that perhaps in the more traditional sense of director and actor would take maybe a couple of weeks, or it could even get it into the run. You take it into the run in terms of the level of trust that you could have with your castmates. So it's lovely that really you've already got there by the end of week 1.
That's fantastic. I mean, I guess it's important if the 5 of you are all perhaps in a car that you get along really well.
Exactly. Like, let's be honest, exactly.
Um, do you have a most memorable workshop moment from your tour so far?
Do you know what? That's a really good question. I feel like I've had what I think is fun about the workshops, what I will say is that, as I said, we go from secondary schools, we go universities. I mean, I know I personally have taught a class that was specialising in violin playing. That was in Texas. I've also taught a class of trainee teachers. That's just here in Georgia. I've also taught a linguistics class, also some lawyers, and essentially we put Macbeth on trial. So a really interesting one in terms of classes. It sounds a bit. I realise I sound very on the fence saying, "Do I have? Is there a favourite?" And no, but they really are all special for a reason, because everybody finds something different. Everybody will come away with something different from it. The teachers come away with something different from it than the lawyers do. Those in the high school, and of course, if you're talking about high schools, what's so wonderful is that you're introducing them to Shakespeare so young that it means they're not scared of it. And I think a lot of people can be quite scared of Shakespeare because they think, oh, actually, that's either not for me or it's very old fashioned. And so it's so great when you see young people really being so engaged with it. And yeah, and I mean, young people in many respects are fearless. As we get older, we start to get a bit more scared, but it's just great that as soon as they get the text, they go for it. So for me, I mean, I really am saying all of them for a reason, but I mean that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I know tons of people who find Shakespeare very intimidating. Do you have
Mm.
any advice for people to like overcoming that fear?
Mm. I think it's really, I think be kind to yourself and actually give yourself an opportunity to listen to the language. Um, and I think with any language, it takes at least about 10 minutes to to become in tune with it. So don't feel, don't fall at the first hurdle. Be patient. And even if, but I think, and as an actor, I'm not expecting to understand everybody to understand the Elizabethan language, but it might be that you start to understand um, the relationships between the characters in terms of the tone in which they are speaking, yeah, the atmosphere that they are creating on stage, the dynamics that you see going on in terms of their physicality. We can tell if someone's having fun simply by a smile, do you see? And Shakespeare is written in a rhythm. It's written in a beautiful rhythm, and much of it in iambic pentameter is what it's called. So it's almost like listening to music. So it's important that even if you're watching a scene, and whilst you think I have no idea what people are saying, even if you're listening, you'll be able to understand or hear the frustration in people's voices because the beats will play out that way. If it's about seduction, you'll hear that in a different way. If the intent behind the lines or the scene is to I don't know, to calm everybody down, that should have an effect on you and your shoulders dropping, for example. So I guess, yes, it's about, as I say, being kind to yourself, knowing that it's okay to not understand it, but just trusting in it and going along with the story, because Shakespeare's been around for a long time for a long reason. And yeah, and we shouldn't be afraid of what we don't know. If anything, we should embrace it and yeah, and go with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's an adventure and it's really a chance to get in tune with other ways of knowing rather than just listening,
Yes,
like
that's
seeing what
right.
your sight can tell you and what your, I don't know, your whole body can tell you just by experiencing.
Mm.
Do you have any advice for young actors?
Hmm. I would say, I say young actors. I mean, I came into acting in my late 20s, and I'd say really for anyone that would like to be an actor, because I feel sometimes with acting, um, people do feel like, if you don't do it when you're younger, you've missed the boat. And actually, that's very much not the case. If you think about the amount of characters and actors that you watch on, be it on stage or on screen or TV, some of them are young, but actually, people are of all ages, of all colors, of all sizes, of all shapes, of all abilities. And I feel like with acting, it is a calling. I kind of feel if you can't, if that little voice in your head is telling you to do it and you've tried your hardest to make it go away and it refuses to, perhaps you should ask yourself if maybe you should just do it. Because what's the worst that could happen? I mean, you fail. Well, isn't that how we learn? So I would say to anyone, be it young, old, whoever you are, that if it is something you want to do, to know that um and yeah, and I guess to try it, of course that means under many circumstances, of course I'm aware of that's different for people in terms of economically, in terms of what you have going on in terms of family life, but it's it's about just trying it. Yeah, everybody's got a mobile phone. If you want to make a short film and put it on the internet, why not? Acting doesn't necessarily mean getting on stage and whatever inverted commas having your big break. Acting is play. You could put on your own plays. You could do that. You could do it on a beach. You could put on a play if you wanted to in your back garden. Invite your neighbours. Whatever performance means to you. But it's a craft. Of course, it is like any profession. It's a craft. It's about knowing your craft. But the only way, and the best actors are the ones that make it look easy. We look at actors and we think, oh, acting's really easy. And you go, well, actually, it's actually really hard. It's really hard. But the best actors make it look easy. So it's about knowing your craft. But it means, of course, as with anything, practice makes perfect. So you've just got to be brave. If you've been wanting to, and even if you want to be an actor, put on your own plays. If you want to be a playwright, just write that play that has been sitting with you for years that you've yet to finally, put pen to paper or open the laptop and start writing. Just do it, because I ask you, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, that's great advice. Just take the leap and be brave. Love that. Um, so you're gonna be in Bermuda in like a week, pretty
I
much.
know.
Yeah,
So
so exciting.
excited. We are so excited about coming to Bermuda. Like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't believe. Bermuda, you got to be ready for us. We're coming. I'm bringing Shakespeare as well to Bermuda. As I say, meeting the people, seeing the landscape. We've heard wonderful things about it. We really, it's it's also incredible that for us, we've been on this tour for quite a few weeks now, and this is the last stop. You know, this is like stop 9, I think. So for us, and on our tour away from home. And so we're going out with a bang. So how wonderful that the final destination is Bermuda.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better place. I'm sure you will absolutely love it, and we are very excited to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I don't think so, unless you've any other questions for me.
No, I think we're all good. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much for sharing your wisdom and your
No,
words. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
no, a real pleasure. Honestly, I wish you all the best with your studies. What a wonderful course.
Thank you.
Cool. Take care.